Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
The best one is I slit a sheet I slit. Upon the slitted sheet I sit.
A slit, a sheet, a shit, a slit, a shit, a blah, 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 in it.
Exactly.
Welcome to another Happy Rabbit podcast. And we are in. Chase was like, that's the intro today?
Yep, that's today's intro.
I feel it.
Well, another podcast, we're doing it. But we have someone special here today. You're probably wondering, where's Alex at? He's gone. Threw him out. Brought someone cooler in. Sorry, Alex.
He's
But
like, what?
he's over there editing. But we have our friend here, Chase. Chase Ramsey. He is a local actor. Introduce yourself. I won't say anything.
Oh gosh, wait. No, I like. Why don't you introduce?
You like
Go.
the flow I have?
Do it.
No, Chase is a freaking rad actor, an amazing friend, and somebody that's been in the industry forever. Charles, you two have known each other for a long time.
A long time, and he's known my wife even longer.
Why does everyone know your wife longer than you've known her? This is a common thing.
She like gets out more than I do.
You're a homebody and she has friends. Got it.
Yeah.
But no, Chase, who are you? Where do you come from? What do you do?
I just want to say, and try not to get emotional this early in the morning, but Charles and Jillian have always been my people. They've always meant so much to me since the very beginning. And, you know, along the way, we've tried to do the Utah thing. In fact, I think even had dreams of doing the thing that you guys are doing right now, you know.
We did, yeah.
Which is why coming down here and seeing the studio, it's like, this is it, man, you know. But very special. And then
Thanks.
meeting you, same thing. You know, it just feels like
Just friends right off the bat. And I didn't even know you guys were friends, and we hit it off. And like, what, right?
Is that true?
Because of the Netflix movie, you and I just like,
Oh,
boom.
of course.
And we were having so much fun. I think it was because my outfits, like I had like crazy outfits, and right off the bat, you're like, that kid's like fun.
Dude.
I was wearing overalls, and like you remember that with the red
heck yeah.
bandana around my neck, and like I was dressing up and having fun. And like we hit it off, and then I found out later that you two were friends, and then it was full circle,
And here
and then
we
we
are.
shot a movie together.
Crazy.
So, crazy.
That movie.
We've done a lot. Well,
Good times.
I want to know, where did you two meet? Where did that relationship begin? And then, like,
What did we first
Charles.
meet on? I mean, I feel like Jillian probably introduced us.
Yeah.
Jillian did introduce us
where'd you and Jillian meet?
UVU.
at school.
Okay.
Maybe.
And you were
possibly
before or after them?
After.
You went to UVU after us?
Oh, sorry. We met after they met.
Copy. But like you went to UVU before them.
Before them,
And
yeah.
then, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, we were kind of there. Well, Jillian and I were there at the same time.
Okay. I was
graduated
there.
like a year or two
I was there a
after.
little bit after her, but as soon as I was
Okay.
done, I left the state and didn't come back for like 6 years. So
Where'd you go?
San Francisco, LA.
So tell us what you were doing in San
Oh
Francisco.
gosh. Okay.
Give us your history,
Okay, great.
so we
Here
know.
it is. So out of college, I had this realization that no one was going to give me a job, and I was, you know, I think I got that. Somebody called it the other day. They said it was like a scrappy mentality of like, if you don't have something, you've got it too, Scooter. Which is like, if you don't have it, if there's not something going on, well, then you just make something happen. You just go and you. So I wrote like 150 letters to every theater in the United States.
Yes.
This is real.
No, I love that.
And I heard back from one theater, like an actual letter though. You know what I mean?
Handwritten.
Like
Old
typed
school,
up.
baby.
Yeah. It was the only way they would accept it then. This was like 2013. And this theater in Minneapolis called the Guthrie, which happens to be the biggest regional theater in the nation, sent back and said, yeah, we have a position. You can come and work for us in January in Minneapolis. It was horrible. But the theater was incredible. From that, I met a director there and got a year position as an associate director in San Francisco. So we moved to San Francisco. While I was in San Francisco, I went and got an agent. And the way that I got an agent was I walked into, in fact, God bless Vicky. I reached out to Vicky at TMG because I was with TMG as a kid.
I know Vicky.
Which
Shout out Vicky.
TMG is a local casting agency here
Yep.
I
in
used to be
Utah.
at Team G growing up, and Vicky was like,
Yeah, yeah. So I just said to her, hey, do you know any agents in San Francisco? And she sent me a couple. And I walked into one of the offices and with my headshot resume, and I said, hey, look, I have a little bit of commercial work, and I've done a lot of theater and all that, and I promise I will get you guys, I will make you money. I went in there to that meeting, and whatever happened in there, they said yes. So that was like my first, out of Utah agent. And I booked like a few commercials while I was there. I ended up acting in some like regional theater, which is no small, it was awesome. And I got lucky playing some good roles. And so I was doing it all the while I was doing this directing job. And the directing job, guess how much it paid? San Francisco is the most expensive city in the U.S., or at least it was at the time. And I made $1,000 that year working at this theater.
Oh, jeez.
I was just about to say maybe $1,000 a week, maybe.
Yeah, right? $1,000 that year. So I'm hustling. I'm trying to make money at other jobs. We leave San Francisco a year later after that project, and it's like, what are we going to do? And we were $17,000 in debt. And I had walked into an audition for California Dream Eater is what it was called, which is a food show that was for Visit California, to just travel California and eat food. And literally I'm driving home with the family, all of our stuff's packed into the car, and I get a contract from them for $100,000. My first, and it was like, that's like real money, you know what I mean?
You can take care of your family, like, yeah.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, I made a lot of money through that California Dream Eater thing, and I don't know where any of it went. No idea.
I was not I thought this was a story
as
of
it
like,
goes.
That's where we bought our first house. I thought that's where it was going.
Yeah, no, and
That's always the case though with the first kind of like good bit of money you make. Somehow it just disappears, right?
That's all money. I feel like it's just, especially when you have a family and kids. It's just like it's gone.
I don't call it money. I call it play tokens. I say I need more play
little
tokens.
play token.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, so from there, once I started to do this thing and create this character, and some clout started to help. You know what I mean? So it was like, oh, now you've done something on a higher level. So I guess bigger rooms started to accept me. I started to meet more people, and and at the end of the day, it really is just like meeting people. That like doing Yellowstone, which most actors here have done Yellowstone. You leave Utah and tell people you've done Yellowstone, and they're like, how did you get that? I mean, I can't even tell you how much people are like.
People on that
It's so
show.
funny.
Yeah.
Like,
My whole family's
Everybody.
obsessed with Yellowstone, and we'll have like Chonky or someone in here who works on the crew, and they'll be like, "You had a Yellowstone crew member?"
Tell
And
me
I'm
about
like,
it. Yeah.
"We've done movies too. Like we've done big stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like, what
we
makes
do the same
Yellowstone
movies,
so
though,
special?" Yeah.
We've done movies too. Yeah, but I literally, right? I walked in that day and met Kevin, did the scene with Kevin, had like a 10-minute conversation with him as they were setting up the next setup. And at the end of that conversation, Kevin goes, "I'm going to get you on my new movie." Right? I think I've told you guys this before.
Yeah.
Did. That had you called me actually after this happened. I was driving and you called me and you're like, "Scooter, I'm emotional right now," and I'm like, "What's going on?" And you're like, "A big moment happened. I just feel like I need to share." And I was like, let's talk about it. And you're like, "Well, like I know," because you knew like I really vibe with that kind of stuff and I love that energy. And like, yeah, you told me about that moment of like you were shaking his hand or something, you're leaving, and he told you like, "Hey, you're gonna be on my next project." Like almost that like it's gonna be okay thing. And like it was cool.
I'm so glad that I called you and you
Yeah.
remembered all of that.
Yeah, I like that. I think I like told you too. I was like, which is cool because it's cool knowing that your buddies like. It was cool seeing you in the Netflix film. It was cool seeing you grow, see you on Netflix. Or let's talk about that. You've been in some big stuff. Just pop them off real quick. What are some of the projects you've been on?
Well, I think like the first big thing was the Book of Mormon musical that I did, right? Which was like, okay.
In New York.
In New York, yeah. So
Broadway.
Doing Broadway. Yeah, if you like play a lead on Broadway, it's like, okay, well that's for theater, that's kind of like and pinnacle, I think a lot of people would rather do plays and think that there's, you know what I mean? But like you can't get a higher job than a lead in a Broadway musical.
I feel like that
know?
is what you achieved to do, yeah.
For theater, right? Now, me personally, I'd love to be a movie actor that then can go back to Broadway and be like a celebrity on Broadway, because
Right.
those tend to be like the really good shows. Those are the things that my wife and I love to see. So anyway, but after that, it was like, okay, I know how to do this, because there was a period of time where it was like, I'm gonna be a food host, I ended up producing a show on HGTV. I was in another Food Network show, and it was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. All the while, I was like, who am I? I need to do some psychedelics to like open some stuff up, because you know what I mean?
There
like,
had to be like like I'm almost like picturing you like in a hotel like in New York or you probably lived there, right? You probably
Yeah.
got a place. So like overseeing the city and probably just having this moment of realization like I'm on Broadway like performing in New York. Like that had to be
see, that's so brilliant, because like that's what it should be.
right.
If you are
that's what
present
you
in the
think,
moment,
yeah.
if you're present in the moment, it's like, this truly is like wonderful, and like what an accomplishment, and you know, all of those things. Nope. Any of those things, it was, people don't like me. I'm not good enough. What's wrong? Like, why don't I have friends? Why don't I, like, it's all of that.
You were
Well,
playing on like the back end of it instead of like being in the moment. You're like, and I feel like a lot of people do that. Like, there's so
course.
much good, and then they play all around right
Yes,
here and
yes.
all like the BS.
And when the pandemic happened, I realized that that was going on inside of me, and it had been for a long time. And so I started to do the work of, you know, erasing a lot of that. I have to go to my stomach, because it's like getting rid of a lot of that trauma or expectations and who I thought I was supposed to be, and trying to be Tom Hardy when really I'm this. You know what I mean? Like, why do you want to be Tom Hardy? Well, because if you're attractive and you have a deep voice, then you're going to make it. You know, people are going to love you. And so this, like, trying to meet these expectations, and, you know, oh my gosh, it's somehow, though, in all of that, I made it. I like could do it, you know, like the pretend was pretend enough. And that's terrifying, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the truth is, for any artist ever who has succeeded, in my opinion, like any artist, it's when they tell their truth, when they find themselves, when they share their story, when they, you know, it's like down to the bare bones of them, that raw, that, you know, vulnerable thing. That's when the magic comes.
No, I agree with that. Like 10,000%. There's so many years in filmmaking that I was trying to be like so many other YouTubers and trying to make content, literally replicating content, and like never was shooting anything I wanted to shoot. Was never really being creative on my own. Was just literally like that LA influencer, like travel, look at me type BS.
Mm-hmm.
And like trying to do that. And once I like really realized like why am I doing film, and like what do I want to do in film, and I like met Charles and I started working on film sets, and I found that like family, like the last thing I wanted to do was like go make an Instagram post. It was like I just want to be here with my friends.
Yeah.
And if you scroll down like and look at my Instagram, you really see it's like it goes from like the oh, like look at us traveling to like look at us on set with our cool gear, like look at this new camera that I love. And I feel like that once I found myself in that, it was like I found that people were actually attracted to that. When I was trying to pretend to be this person, I was like, why don't I have a following? Why don't people want to like buy my merch? Like, what is this? And then yeah, it's like that moment when you're like true to yourself.
Available now on Amazon.
I don't think we've ever talked about this.
We haven't.
Okay, well, now I guess now's the time.
I guess we'll plug it now real quick. But I wrote a kid's book, like a little children's book, because this was COVID. This was COVID in a nutshell. It was like, what do I do with my time? And I always had this idea of creating something like this. But I got a team together, and we got published, and we have a full children's book. It's on Amazon. The Adventures of Leo and Scooter. So,
but it's that's you.
That's me.
And
that's the blue
finding
hair, and
your authentic self.
And that's his doggy.
that's Leo. If you've seen the channel, Leo, and yeah, and actually the whole idea that I got behind this is my dad's dog passed away a few years ago, and I was like, dogs come and go so much. Like you think about how many dogs like you have over a course of lifetime, right? And it's like there's so many memories with them, and I was like, wait. What if I wrote like a children's book about all the memories I had with my dog? Because we've gone like rock climbing to the skate parks to helping like a old lady get limes out of a tree one time, and she made us a pie. And like all these stories are real, so it's like it's kind of cool because then I could tell my kids these stories too.
Wow.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's fun.
Sick. So buy it.
So buy it.
Enjoy it.
And I think we all like writing, right? It's just like another form of writing. Whether you make that into like a short film or it's a book, it's the same thing.
Right. Yeah.
So, you've been on Broadway.
the
You've been
pandemic.
on Netflix.
Yeah.
I just want to jump real quick in because I feel
Yeah,
like
yeah,
your
yeah.
resume is pretty huge, and I just want to give people
Oh,
just
gosh.
a little like umbrella view, right? Been on Broadway. You've been on Yellowstone.
Yeah.
You've been on
Netflix.
Yeah.
Netflix, the Christmas movie, and a few others.
Sprinkle in some other TV shows, NBC,
Yeah.
Holy shit.
CBS, all those other
NCIS.
things.
I was
yeah.
watching a movie on the freaking plane coming home from Florida. Dude, did you play... I haven't talked to you about this. Did you play a cop? Not a cop.
Yeah,
It was like
yeah.
an investigation thing on a movie.
What movie was it?
I don't...
Do you remember?
Dude, I'm watching a
I'm on an
freaking
airplane
movie
right now,
on
yeah.
an airplane.
Yeah.
And in the background of this like bigger movie, there's Chase as like a detective that comes in or a cop or something that comes into the room.
Yeah, The Storied Life of A.J. Fickrey is what it is. Famous book, yeah.
Dude, I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
bro.
So fun.
And it's
I shot
cool
with-
because I just didn't know you did that. And then
Oh,
I
man.
see you like on a plane. I'm like, that's my boy.
That's David Arquette that I did that with, and Christina Hendricks was in it, Lucy Hale, and I'm just gonna butcher his name, but he's on Big Bang Theory. He's Indian, and he's awesome. Anyway, yeah, Storied Life of A.J. Fickrey. Yeah, I know. I can't, and a lot of those that you're listing, I cannot wait for the residuals to come in for all of those. That's what this is. This is the waiting period.
I want to ask you that too. As an actor, like, okay, everyone thinks like, oh, you're in a Netflix movie. You got $1 million house and drive a Porsche. Or,
Yes.
You know, that whole thing, LA, whatever. What does that look like? Because a lot of the times, like, you guys barely get sent home with the products. Sometimes the rate's like really low, and like a lot of the money goes to like the back end, not necessarily like the people on camera. Sometimes.
Yeah. The rate is pretty much the same for me now until I become, top 3 or 4 or sometimes top 2, Lindsay, I don't know exactly how much she made, but she made 2 million. So she got a Schedule F for Falling for Christmas. Well, most of us, so Lindsay, Cord, and George got a Schedule F. Everybody else was working SAG weeks, right?
So explain
days.
what a
Explain
Schedule
what
F is,
that
because
means, yeah.
Oh yeah.
you know.
Okay. Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Schedule F is when you negotiate when you are worth more to the production than just a basic SAG agreement. So SAG pays, I think it's like $4,300 a week, and then of course overtime you get more for overtime.
And you can look all those rates up online. Like,
Exactly.
everything's public knowledge. You can go and look up what SAG rates are for whatever tier movie that you're working on.
The whole idea there is the more influence and the more famous you are, the more sales you're going to bring into the movie. Hence, they pay you more than the SAG actors.
Yeah, which with the Lindsay movie, it made sense. Everybody saw that movie because of Lindsay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we all knew that. It was like, this is her big comeback, That's the reason I watched it,
I feel like that's why everyone watched it. It's
yeah.
like, it's Lindsay Lohan. She hasn't come out with... We all grew up on Lindsay Lohan. So
Right.
Like,
Right.
yeah.
And then Cord, he had his time with Glee and they got famous from that. And so it's like, okay, bring him in and give him a Schedule F. Then George, who had just done a horror movie, a famous horror movie, let's bring him, So a few Schedule Fs. But other than that, you think that everybody's, getting like a really big contract up front. But no, you're getting paid per week. And, $5,000 a week is a lot. Let's say if it's $5,000 a week is a lot, but you work, 15 weeks out of the year and it's not.
That's what people don't get. Like, yeah, I make good money when I'm on set and
Yeah.
I'm working, but
Yeah.
like I'm not working a Netflix movie 50 weeks out of the year.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
That'd be really nice.
And the same could be said for a Trinity operator or anything else in the
it's
industry.
anything in
That's,
film.
that's
it's
everybody in the film industry.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you were getting your rate every day, we'd be rolling.
We'd
Oh,
all
it'd be
be
great.
just
chilling,
so
yeah.
comfortable
Yeah.
right now.
Totally. But it's, jobs are few and far between. So the other thing is that obviously Lindsay now also with her Schedule F has a deal where she's going to get money on the back end, which
Right.
makes sense because, again, she's the whole reason the movie sold. We owe her all the money for it.
Right.
But with a basic SAG agreement, the benefit is that I will get residuals for the rest of my life, possibly for a movie like that. Whereas, every time it plays or as long as it's up on a streaming service, I'm getting paid for it.
And correct me if I'm wrong, and this may be more on like the director and producer side, but doesn't it also transfer to your firstborn? So if you were to pass away, the SAG
Oh,
benefits transfer?
I don't know.
Someone was explaining
That's
to me
cool.
that because
That'd be cool.
I was mind blown because I was like, there you're almost creating generation wealth.
You have to, yeah.
As
That makes sense.
and you're creating lifetime retirement. The more movies and stuff you do, the more frequent those checks will come later on.
Yes.
So what is the difference in royalties from like just straight SAG days and SAG weeks versus what you're talking, Lindsay? Was
Schedule
on?
F.
Schedule
Yeah,
F.
Schedule F.
Yeah, so I mean, she's probably getting a large percentage of the movie. I wouldn't be surprised if her people negotiated like 10%, because they knew that she was worth so
that's
much
still all
going in.
situational based, just depending on who.
All
it-
situation based.
Yeah, and some big actors
Absolutely.
like have back end or produce and put money into the
I
movie.
feel like
and stuff
most
like
of those
that.
guys we work with, those big actors, they always are like back end producers or have back end points
Yeah.
or something like that. On
Well,
the
there's the
movie.
famous story of Jonah Hill doing Wolf of Wall Street. Leo made $20 million up front. Jonah Hill made $500,000.
Yeah.
That's a big disparagement, right?
Yeah.
Well, Jonah Hill said, "Okay, I'll take the 500,000, but I need more back end."
Yeah.
And he did, and it was worth it. He's made plenty of money from that movie. So a lot of people will do that, make more back end. Some people will only get a Schedule F up front, I know for a fact I have a friend who does Hallmark movies, and he makes a good chunk of money up front, but not a lot of back end.
And
on
that's
it.
also like that's just situational based. You got to look at it and go, what is this movie gonna do? If you think it's gonna be like the next top 5 and get purchased and be a 30-year movie, you want the back end. If you think it's gonna be like a 1-year hoorah and kind of fade away, like get the front end.
I don't know that we make 30-year movies anymore.
So again, I kind of
Not
understand
really,
your
dude.
It's
point.
content, dude. Like, unfortunately, Netflix killed the 30, like those.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we
Yeah.
don't go to the movie theater anymore, and we're like, hang out. Where everybody's excited, waiting in line.
Oh,
So
I
you
have
can be the
missed
first
it.
one there.
I missed it.
I have
Like
to pull
we
this
don't
up.
do that anymore.
Camping out.
Now
We're
you're like,
camping out.
turn on Netflix. Thanks Netflix
You
for
get it.
ruining going to movies for us.
I mean, I go to the movies, but I make
still
a
do.
point. Yeah,
Yeah.
I make
Okay,
a
so
point of it.
I go to
Yeah.
movies for like series and like long run type stuff, but like a lot of the stuff that comes out that's just like one off. I like.
It's just content now.
Yeah. I'll
So I
just,
watched a
like, I'll
movie
just
for
wait
the
till-
first time the other day. Have you seen Out of Sight?
No,
You haven't seen
George
Out
Clooney.
of Sight with George Clooney and Jennifer Lopez?
J Lo.
No.
Oh,
I haven't seen
yeah, dude. Like we're talking 90. Wasn't it?
Mhm.
We
Older
talked
than
about
the
this. It was
90s,
in the 90s.
Yeah, in the 90s. Okay. So, like, this movie, I watched it, and the way it was shot, the story, like, everything, there was nothing, like, no cars blowing up, no, like, craziness. It was just so, like, genuinely well made that I enjoyed it 30 years later. And, like, to that point, like, we aren't creating stuff that's, like, a 30-year movie. And it kind of makes me sad. We're just, like, busting stuff out.
Yeah. It's
Wrong.
content. All about the content.
Elf is a 30-year movie.
There you go.
It's true.
That one held.
But when was
Will
Elf?
Ferrell-
When was Elf made?
Step Brothers could be a 30-year movie.
When was Elf made?
Yeah.
I don't know, like 2007?
It was like early 2000s, something like that.
2000
Yeah. 2002.
So it's almost a 30-year movie.
It almost
Yeah,
is, dude.
Will Ferrell! Yeah, that's sick, dude. Shout out Will Ferrell. Do you like Will
No.
Ferrell?
Oh my gosh.
He's
Like,
like
but
one of my
all
favorites.
those
Truly think
movies
he's the greatest. I
are
actually think
old
he's the
movies, though. That's the thing. Like, tell me one movie that we've made in the last 5 years that you think is going to be like a 30-year movie.
Everything Everywhere, maybe.
Maybe.
But time will tell.
Yeah,
But
but
that's very new. It's very unique. Nobody's really done that. So
Yeah,
Maybe.
and it just won, all the awards,
Yeah.
kind of a thing, and so it has that backing it.
yeah.
And so, like, yeah, totally give you that, but like,
There's been some really good movies, but they're like movies that, like I'm thinking of Sound of Metal, like really got me.
Yeah. I'd maybe
but-
say 1917, but again,
1917
That
was
one was such
special.
a pretty
You're not
movie.
you're not gonna watch it every year.
no.
That's the thing, yeah.
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 But it's
But
not.
that's one
yeah.
is like, okay, but we're weird because like camera people, I watch that movie like once or twice a year because I love the camera work on that. It's
Sure.
like a little bit
True.
different. Like unbiased opinion, I feel like, yeah, it's more like a once every.
But again, it has a
4 years.
ton of awards behind it. You know what I mean?
What is that?
Yeah.
As an actor, that has to be pretty freaking cool to think. Like, if you're in a 30-year movie and creating, like, if you look at Elf, like, you're creating, like, Halloween costumes and, like you're creating, like, a thing, right?
It's a whole subculture.
Elf
whole-
was, Elf was
yeah.
Christmas, by the way.
What was I saying?
Halloween.
Did I just mix the two?
I was just gonna let him roll
wait,
with it
no.
to see where he
I
went.
love, dude.
my
That's my
brain
favorite
was
Halloween
going
movie.
horror. My brain was going horror with Halloween, and then like elf and costumes, whatever. But like as an actor,
They need to make a sequel and let it be a
Dude.
horror
No.
elf movie.
no, they
Dude.
offered Will Ferrell like
No, but
I
it's like
heard
the
about it.
horror.
Stupid myth,
It's the
like-
horror Halloween
But not
version.
Christmas.
But they offered Will Ferrell like something stupid, like 200 million up front to do Elf 2, and he said no.
Yeah.
You can't mess with something that works.
I
And
respect
agree-
that
I agree with that.
100%.
That's how you make a 30-year movie.
Yeah.
Like,
It'd be nice to have the money to make those decisions.
Yeah.
It'd be
right.
nice to have the money to turn down money.
It's like Harry Potter, dude. They're coming out with a Harry Potter
Yeah.
TV series now.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
WB sold
each
it to
book gets its
HBO.
own series,
Really?
which I'm excited
At least
for
it's
because it
HBO.
needs
Yeah.
that. It needs
Yeah.
that though, because the books have so much in them that they don't talk about.
Mm.
But Chase, what's new? What's coming up? What's on the horizon?
Horizon.
Horizon.
Are you
Horizon.
going down on
Horizon's on the horizon.
Well, I
He,
shot Horizon.
he was in the first movie.
So I
Do
got a
explain.
significant role. So that's what Kevin got me. So the next
Oh,
day
I
after I
didn't
got
know
upset,
that. Okay,
I
nice.
found out that I was doing Horizon with Kevin.
So
and
you were trapped down there that whole last year? Throughout the
yeah,
whole year?
wasn't trapped. I was there. I was only there for like a month and a half on
Okay.
set. Because the thing is, at least the first movie, there's a lot of different stories coming together. You know, it starts to really narrow out. But I worked with Sienna Miller and Sam Worthington, which is the main focus of the story, and then all the textures of the other stuff is going to come to meet that story. You know, but I mean, I will say, being on set with Kevin and with all of these actors, it was the first time that I had really been around actors who had made a living being actors, you
Yeah.
know?
It's a different type of...
It's just a whole different thing, you know? And being around them and sort of like, not only that, but like being there and going, I belong here. I'll never forget it, you know? And even now, it's like, gosh, that was just the most beautiful, brilliant, you know? And little moments like I'm standing in the field. I've shot all of my big scenes, you know, and it was a significant. I remember reading the script and going, okay, this is really, really good stuff. It's like the writing, even reading a scene. And there's this scene where, you know, the crew is crying and like it's this big thing, and it's like I got to be in that, you know, and even reading it, I was like, this is special. Well, I'm sitting on set and Kevin comes up to me randomly in the middle of the field as we're transitioning to another shot. And he goes, Chase, I want you to be in every movie I ever make. And it's like, can I get that in writing?
Can you get a contract, please?
No, but no, I was blubbering. I was like, nah. You know, I'm not really starstruck. Or I've never really gotten starstruck because I just want to work with these people. You know what I mean? Like I admire their ability to create, and also it's like, it's sort of that, like, I'm going to starve if I don't create. I will starve. And, you know, for me, it's like being there and watching Kevin, it was truly like, I think it was the closest to a genius I've ever been, because his focus was unbending. It was like he could do everybody's job better than they could do it, and faster, because he wasn't thinking about lunch. He obviously, you know, his kids were taken care of. He didn't have any expectations, or he didn't need to live up to anything. He's Kevin Costner, you know what I mean? And maybe he's always felt that way, and that's why he's such a successful actor and creator.
Well, he's also in charge. Like, it's his movie. Like, he's basically funding it. He's in it, you know.
Think
he's
about
older.
Dances with Wolves.
Yeah.
And early on in his career, he was like, I'm going to write this thing, and I get it. I get the vibe. I'm going to star in it. I'm going to direct this thing.
Yeah.
It's like,
I think that's such a powerful thing to have.
holy
Like,
crap.
if you can bring that energy, and like, I see what you're saying, and I've felt that too. Like, when you're around like people that really, like, Charles and I get it, because like we found that in each other, in the sense of like, I could call him at 3 a.m. and talk about something that's going on with the camera, and he'd like jump out of bed and be like, yeah, I found that I already had the tab open, and like be like researching it. And like, when you find people that like want it that bad, like when you forget to sleep, when you forget to eat, when you like don't even care about that because you want it, and you find that like within people, there is that like, I belong here, like we get it.
That's the type of stuff that like people spend their whole life going to therapy to find. And some people, like Kevin, have it just automatically. Jennifer Lawrence, she just had it, where it was like, this immense trust and passion, trust in yourself and what you're doing, but then passion along the way. So it's like, I've spent a lot of time questioning the choices that I'm making while I'm making them. Well, the camera can see that.
Oh yeah.
You know? And so there are these people like Kevin who just trusted it. He was like, this is what I know how to do, and this is exactly who I am, so I'm going to do this.
That's a special feeling. So explain Horizon real quick, because we know, but people are like, what's Horizon?
Horizon is...
and what can you talk about?
Yeah, right? Horizon, $500 million for 4 movies right now, which, by the way, and this is insider secrets, there's a fifth...
Can you say this?
I'm going to say it.
Okay.
I'm going to say it. Whatever. Who cares?
There's only 85 people that watch your podcast. So.
They're going to love this a little bit. There's a 5th movie that was written. Kevin wrote this movie 20 years ago after he did Open Range. He wrote this movie, pitched it to Disney. Disney gave him $10 million less than what he felt he needed. And so he was like, I can't do it now. 20 years later, he got the $500 million. It's happening, right? Yellowstone helped surge his career again, and now he can make this passion project. 4 movies, which is insane. It's kind of like, and a lot of people out there might know, Lonesome Dove. Lonesome Dove was like it was like 4 made-for-TV movies.
Yeah.
This is like that, except for $500 million, and I'll just keep saying it because it truly is so epic.
And it's a Westerner.
It's a Western. It is before the Civil War, during the Civil War, and after the Civil War. 15-year period,
so
4
cool.
movies. And so my character's in the first movie at a fairly significant part. I mean, I'm not Sam Worthington, who is the now billion-dollar star of Avatar series and stuff.
Yeah.
Or Sienna Miller, who is an icon and phenomenal actor, by the way. Holy crap! And I mean, just stunning. The camera, like, she can't look bad. It's amazing. But and just add in every famous like actor who can do westerns in there. It's like it's so littered with people.
Well, and if you guys don't know, $500 million for Westerners. If you break that down, that's over $100 million per movie for Westerners. Like, that's gonna be cool.
It's big, and the magic of it, like what Kevin does, that's actually the magic is he casts these main actors, and then there's 300 extras going in the background at all times.
Oh,
That's
sure.
what I realized. It was like Kevin talks to his extras, and he talks to his wranglers and all these horses and the cavalry. That's what makes it an epic, is the background.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You think of the 10 Commandments, it's like, well, Kirk Douglas is going to do his thing. You know what I mean? But it's the masses that are responding, and you know what I mean? That's what makes it so big.
Yeah.
I just watched Lawrence of Arabia. Lawrence of Arabia, thank you. And that's what it felt like. It was like the vastness of this thing. Like, how did they make this? This is an epic. That's what Horizon's going to feel like,
That's cool.
It was cool seeing a director do that, because we make a lot of movies that are like really just small and focused on people, because getting extras when you can't really pay anybody, that's
Like the
hard.
impossible.
The whole Utah theme is like, 4 main actors and then a common maybe 2-3 extras that are like kind of there, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Listen, we're pro about making 15 people look like 200 people
Yeah.
in Utah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Shooting in a cafe, and the crew is sitting
Using
at
half the crew as extras.
Yeah.
So that brings it back, though, Chase, to what we were talking about earlier,
Yeah.
and a 30-year movie. And these have that potential. If you're saying it's on the same level of Lawrence of Arabia,
That's what I was
if
gonna
you
say.
think about Lawrence of Arabia, it came out in
That's a 60-year movie.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
And it truly is. Watching it again, it was
it's epic, dude. I remember sitting in the movie theater, or not in the movie theater. It was obviously a replay,
Yeah,
that my dad took us to, and sitting in the movie theater watching it, and then it had a freaking intermission because it was so long.
Yes, dude.
How long's the movie?
I want to say it was probably 3 hours.
Yeah, 3.5
Which
hours.
we do 3-hour movies
We do
like it's
3-hour
like no
movies
big deal now.
But
I love
then,
the idea
yeah.
of an intermission.
Oh, it was great.
Dude, an intermission's a great idea. Let's get back to that.
Yeah.
Intermissions in movies would be sweet. I would love to go out and like refill my drink or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The people who are going to movies are going to movies because they love movies enough. You can do that stuff.
Well, it's an experience.
Totally.
Like you want to keep the experience
I wouldn't mind like an intermission like on Netflix movies and everything, because nothing's worse like when you have to
It's
like.
called the pause button, Scooter.
I was just about to get there, Charles. What I was gonna say is nothing's worse than looking over at your wife or fiance and hitting the pause button like to go do something real quick, and they're just sitting there. But if you had a 5-minute intermission.
The
on
score's
Netflix,
playing in the background.
you maybe get some nice like music, maybe
Yeah.
like some fun like B-roll of some like crew cast members.
You just want to
pull you out
screen
of the
time.
film.
Maybe I just want some B-roll of me. I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's good.
Chase, to wrap it up, do you have any advice to any new people coming into the industry?
Yeah, I think, I mean, you guys are my heroes. I think it's like you guys are doing it, which is just like, we just make stuff. We made this movie last January and we're still working on it. It's getting the sound out, but it's like a solid movie. I'm really proud of it and like the work that we did. But
Real quick, he's talking about the movie Scout.
Scratchy, Cage, and Tumbleweed is
Which
what it's
what
called.
we call it Scout, but it's SCTT.
Yeah.
Scooter calls it Scout.
I love that you call it Scout. Well, Scout is in it. There's one
And
of
the main
lead
actor is
actors
Scout.
who's
so
unbelievable.
Are we calling it SCTT?
Scratchy, Cage, and Tumbleweed.
So the actual, okay.
Yeah.
But you wrote it.
Check out IMDb.
You DP'd it.
Yep.
We edited it.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's doing some sound on it.
Yep.
We don't know yet. But it'll be coming out. Look forward to that. We'll have links all over our channel. There'll be a bunch of stuff. We'll probably do a full another like podcast breaking down the movie and showing some scenes from the movie. But
Yeah.
definitely stay tuned for that.
We maybe spent, to what you were saying, Charles, we maybe spent $10,000 on this film, and it looks like a over $1 million movie, no question. The actors are incredible. It looks incredible. I just think get started, and it's like it's hard to really hear that sometimes, but it truly is. Just go and make stories. That's the thing. I think if you tell the truth, if you get to a piece of your soul and you spend some time making it in the way that you see it and just trusting yourself, just trust yourself, know that it's right, know that you are the only one that can do this. Don't try to be anybody else. You just can't do it. They have more money and they're better at it because it's themselves, So just tell a version of your truth. Scout is coming back to Utah for the summer, and it was like, well, we got to shoot another movie, and it's like, well, what would it be? And it's like, Scout, write your soul, and we'll go and shoot it, and that'll be magic no matter what. Because the truth is,
and we got her in Worst Summer Ever.
Exactly,
So
Worst Summer Ever.
Hopefully
Yeah,
that's going down this summer. We'll see.
But I think the magic of Scratchy, Cage, and Tumbleweed is that it belongs to all of us.
Yeah.
And I think whatever the movie was, that because I think we can do another one that's written better. I think we can do another one that like we're more prepped for. We can do another for sure. But it was like all of us together trying to figure it out on the fly, and it's our movie. I'm just like proud of that.
Yeah.
I almost don't care if the movie sees the light of day. I mean, it will, but there's a part of me that's just like the memory and the experience of being there. I want to do that again.
And that's because we love making movies, and it's not about, I mean, yes, it's always nice to make money, but like it's not about that. It's about being creative and being artists, which we all are, and doing what we love.
What I
with
loved about
people
that
we
too
love.
is we got to create in a way that we normally don't, because there's so many guidelines on a lot of our projects, and with that, like there are times where I was like, "Bro, can I try like throwing a light here?" And he's like, "Let's see if it looks good," and then it like looks good.
Yeah.
But we'd never do that on a movie because we don't have the time or like can play with that. So
Yeah.
I think that's what I enjoyed. Cool.
That's going to be a 30-year movie.
What's up?
Maybe.
Yeah, it is.
We'll just be promoting it for 30 years.
It's going to take 30 years to make. That's the new 30 years.
Charles is like, please no. Well, if you guys aren't yet, please subscribe. Throw the notifications on. I know it's stupid, but just hit it. It helps us out a lot. It notifies you guys when new videos are out, so you can hear us blabble and laugh at each other and whatever this is.
And also hit up Chase on social. He would love.
Chase Ramsey, really. Follow me. Follow all the adventures.
Yeah.
There will be many more with
Probably have
us.
seen him too. Like they've probably seen him in something.
I don't. last year, it's funny. Falling for Christmas and Yellowstone were like the two biggest things. I mean, you know, like really big. I wouldn't say biggest. Avatar came out, but you know they were big. So it's like, that's
better
funny.
know this.
If
If
you're
not following him, follow him.
Please.
Thank you guys.
All right, we'll see you.
Boom. That was our best podcast yet, I think.